Today, we have Dr. David Mende with us, who is our resource person. Let us start from the book that you have written. It's a much read book, The Dangers of Health and Wealth Gospel. So, how did you come up with the idea of writing the book, The Dangers of Health and Wealth Gospel?
Well, this book was born out of my own personal experience. In fact, not many people know I'm an outspoken person when it comes to the prosperity gospel, but many people don't know that I was into these prosperity teachings. Several years ago, probably you're aware, there were a couple of Christian channels, and many of these prosperity preachers would appear on these channels, and I would listen to these teachings, and it seemed very attractive. It kind of gave me a sense of empowerment, and I started believing those teachings. However, my dad's death was a rude awakening. He was admitted to a hospital due to brain hemorrhage, and when I came to know about that, I was very strong in my faith, and when I came to know about that, I was like, okay, fine, he's unwell, but I'm going to confess my dad's healing, and I'm going to pray for my dad's healing, and he's going to be healed. So I kept confessing my dad's healing. I kept believing, and I didn't even pray about it because I believed that Jesus healed him 2,000 years ago, so I don't need to pray. All I need to do is to confess my dad's healing. And I did so for 2 days. And then eventually we get a phone call from the hospital that my dad is sinking, and we rushed to the hospital. And then I went into the ICU. I saw his BP coming down, and even in those moments, I was praying desperately for the resurrection power to flow through him, and I kept confessing his healing. I kept believing God. Now, some people say, yeah, probably you did not have adequate faith. No, I did not have an iota of negative thought. All that I was visualizing was his healing. So I didn't have a doubt. Even when people came up to me and said, be prepared for either ways, I was like, no, I'm believing God for my dad's healing. So I didn't have any doubt as such. So as I believed God, and as I was praying and believing for his healing, eventually my dad went to be with the Lord, and that was a rude shock. I was wondering what happened to all my positive confessions. What happened to my faith? I did not doubt the Lord. So Bible says if you have faith, you can receive whatever you ask. So I asked for my dad's healing. So why didn't this happen? So I was in denial for a few days and few months, I would say. I didn't understand what was happening. So that's when I began to seriously think about these issues. And later, as months passed by, I realized that my faith was not in Scripture, but in the teachings of some of these prosperity preachers I kept hearing. So, yes, there is an element of truth in what they teach about healing, for instance, but I realized that some of these teachings are extremes and they're unhealthy for a spiritual life. Thankfully, I got back into my faith. I was stable in my faith, but when I think about many people who have lost their faith just because they believe that certain confessions will help them to become rich or to come out of the debts or to get healing, and when they don't receive that, they become disillusioned and they leave the faith altogether. So that's when I started, thinking about these issues. And when I went to a Bible school, started studying the Word, I realized that much of what I believed was unbiblical. And so basically, this book is a result of 14 years of prayer, research, study. So it was born out of my personal experience, but then I had to do a lot of work, and essentially my doctoral thesis was on the same subject. So that's how this book came to be.